Hi Andrew, this is just a little tutorial for doing blog posting to your site. I've gone ahead and set you up as a user and you're able to write and publish blog posts and edit the ones that are in there. So it should work pretty well for you. It should be pretty simple. If you have any questions as you're going, then just drop us a note and we'd be glad to help. But basically the principle is blog as often as you like and as often as you can. I'll give you some principles for things to do in the back end. You may want to think about some keywords that you want to utilize for your site. If you need a proper SEO analysis done, we can do that for you if you want to talk to me about that, perhaps as part of your monthly work, so that as you're blogging about the things that people are looking for online. So I've sent your username and password to you, and you just go to, it should give this to you, but you just go to andrewprice.co.uk/wp-login, and that should take you here. Just type in your username and password, and this brings you to the back end of your site. And as I said, we haven't given you access to everything with all the plugins and the admin and the pages and stuff, but if you need changes there, just let us know. But posts is pretty much the main thing that you're going to be concerned with. Media is just for images and things like that, but you can upload those directly into the post section. Comments is to view comments if people put them on there. You know, there's a few things like that, but pretty much this post bit is all you're going to really need to worry about. So if you go to all posts, you can see the things that are there now. So this shows all of them, and then the ones that are published and the ones that are in draft format. So this is quite handy. I know that Chris has set up a number of these that are in draft format using the videos that you had. So I've just had him go ahead and set up these ones with the video in there, so you may want to be able to go in there and adjust those. I'll have to talk to him about whether you can edit those. I think it's not allowing you to edit them because you didn't set those up, but I can change that if need be. But what you mainly need is this add new. So every time you want to write a blog post, just go in there and click add new. What I would recommend is that you write the blog post content before going in here, so that you're not just starting here and typing in your blog post, just in case you lose it or something goes wrong with your connection or something. So I'm going to use, just as an example, a blog post we've got called the 4 Ways to Improve Profit in Your Business. This is just a generic one, so I'm just going to use this in this tutorial to help show you how it works. But what I would recommend is that you have a title, you have an image, I'll talk about images in a minute, and then you've got, you know, kind of an intro, maybe some headers. It's really important to have headers because people skim, they don't really read in detail. So just as an example, I will take you to the Profitable Firm blog, and let's just check. So this is a good example. This is a recent blog post that we wrote at the Profitable Firm about DIY or outsourcing your video. So we have a little intro, then we've got some headers, and then there's some links as well. So that's an important thing to do when you're writing your blog post. So you take your title. So if you've got all the content there in Word or wherever you wrote it, you just take your title, put it right in here. One thing to bear in mind, which we will look at as well later on regarding your SEO, is that the title of your post, you're going to want to include at least one keyword that's relative to what you imagine people would be searching for when they find this. So for example, profit might be the key word, but if you did some SEO, if we did some SEO analysis and you discovered that profitability was a better word, or that there was a whole phrase to use, that would affect the title. But for now, just put in the title that kind of expresses what your blog post is about. Then you grab your content. I'm just going to copy all of this. And literally just hit paste. Now, there's a couple things you'll want to change. One is it often adds in extra spaces, which you may want to remove these. This is just a thing that flows through from Word, so it just depends where you're pasting it from. And of course you can always click the preview button to see how it's looking. If you like the way that the spaces are in there, I personally think this is just a little open, whereas here it reads a little better. So may want to look at that. So oftentimes I go through and just remove some of those spaces if they're there. And the formatting is sometimes a little bit off. This is one of the downsides of writing it outside, but you don't want to lose the content that you've written. So I would first remove those, then you would look at things like bullet points. So you might just mess about with those bullets to make sure that those are showing properly, then click preview. For some reason your bullets aren't showing there, so we'll either need to look at that or there might be something odd with the posting there. We can get the guys to look at the detail. Then another thing to bear in mind here is the headers. It's really good to have these as header 1, header 2. There we go. This little button here, this toolbar toggle, you want all of these tools as well. So for your headers, you don't just want paragraph, you want heading 2, heading 3, something like that. You can play about with it and see what they look like. I'm just going to go back and show you that. So you can see that's a little bigger. You can see if you want it to jump out at people. I'm just going to add a little space there. And you may want to change this, again bearing in mind your keywords, again thinking about what people are going to look at. So in this generic blog post example, you've got the 4 ways to improve profit. You might want to change this to improving profit way 1, or 1, increasing number of customers, something like that, something that jumps out at them a little more than just number of customers. It also adds the word profit, which we've decided is a key word, so that helps. So you would just do the same thing for these other headers. Change that to whichever one we did, heading 2 or heading 3. I think we did heading 3. And it just, you can pick either heading 2 or heading 3 based on how that looks on the blog post. So again, on this one we might do improving profit 2. How often do customers, or we might even change that, increasing how often customers buy from you. So same kind of thing. You would look at the other headers and do the same kind of thing. The other thing I would add is that you should often have calls to action throughout the blog post, but they need to be the kind of calls to action that don't sound salesy. A blog post is meant to educate, inform, train, help, be supportive. It's not meant to push services. So what you're trying to do is encourage somebody to be on your website and just be reading along about improving profits and naturally click on something that leads them to perhaps your page on more profit. So just as an example, we could grab this URL, and this one is about, it's mostly about the one-page business plan. So we might have something in here, how much they buy. Perhaps we put it at the end somewhere. If you're going to improve your profits, these 4 years is a place to start. At Andrew Price & Co. We use the one-page business plan to get started. Whatever, that's just off the top of my head. Now what you want to do is highlight the words that you want them to click on. One of the things you need to remember these days is people expect phrases to be clickable. You don't need to use the words click here because everybody knows when they see a link that you click it. That's kind of an old school thing to say click here or click this button or whatever. Unless you are actually using a button, but when it's words you can just highlight the words, paste in the link there, or you've got this link to existing content, so you could type in profit and it shows you where the word profit is used on your site. or you could use improve cash flow. I think this page actually has the word goals. You have goals achieved, whatever it be. And again, you click preview and see how that turned out. Down near the end, and there it is. It's in blue, very easy for them to click. They're going to know what to do. So anywhere throughout the site, maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe 1, you don't have to have loads, but if there's something that's natural, if you're talking about 4 ways to improve profit and you want to encourage there's a book on profitability in your business bite size, for example. Let's see, where's your link to business bite size? So here's a business bite size link, and you've got superstars, magic of questions, etc., how to grow your business by making the most of every day, full potential of your team. If there's something in here that you felt was very particular for profitability, you could, I presume, grab your link. So you could copy this link here, and then you could say it somewhere in your blog post. We have a business bite size book on increasing your profits that you might enjoy reading. And then you're going to highlight business bite size book, hit the link, hit your paste for that exact link that was there, click add link, again done. So that's mostly what goes on in this content bit. You're going to want to stay in the visual tab. The text tab is more for the HTML coding and things like that. And you can utilize any of these here. Most of these are pretty obvious. If you want to add a horizontal line, there's a good section for adding a quote so it'll stand out. This is for including a hyperlink. The EVS, that's for your video, the thing that we added. You can change the text color. Most of the things I would encourage you to look at would be header 2 or header 3 for the big headings, bold and italic if you need to. Keep it simple. Keep it as simple as possible. Don't go into lots of bolds and italics and color changes, and let's not confuse people. Let's get the content across. You can save draft to make sure that you don't lose the work that you've done. And then you can either leave it as publish immediately, or you can pick a date on which you want to schedule it to post. So if you want this to go on the 28th of May at 8:30 in the morning, you could click OK. I'm not going to do that or else it will publish it, but that's how you schedule that. And categories, you're going to want to pick a category. This one would be profitability. You do not want uncategorized. That's just kind of a standard category that's there, but you want to have a category. If there is not a category, just ask Chris or somebody at the Profitable Firm to give you some extra categories. Your categories need to be something broad so that when somebody is looking at your website, and let's go back to your blog here, and we can put here we go, there's your categories on the side so that people can quickly jump to those categories. You don't want to have hundreds of categories. You want it to be simple so that people go, oh, okay, I can read a book review, I can read about profitability, I can read about the team. They click team, it goes to the new position available, etc. So you want to pick a category. As I say, ask us if you need a new one added. The next thing to look at is tags. Tags is a way for people to, again, quickly find what they're looking for on your blogs. And I don't think we have a tag cloud on your site yet, but we can add one. We've got one on the Profitable Firm, and it looks like this. Now, the more you post on certain topics, the bigger the word comes up. So when we started writing blog posts, they were all about this size, but now after all the writing we've done, we've got websites, social media, online marketing, email marketing, content. Those ones just jump out at you because we've written a lot of posts on those. So it's just a really handy way for people to be glancing at this going, oh, I might want to read the blog posts they've written on blogging. and then they can scroll through and look at all the blogs that have to do with that. So that's what the tags are for. You should not have more than 3 or 4 of these per blog post. It used to be the case that Google would, if the more tags you had, the better it was for SEO. It still is good, but if you had truckloads of tags, it makes you look like a spammer. So we would encourage tags that are not a repeat of the category. So you would not want to say profitability because you've already got a category for that. You don't want to use the word profit because that's already in the category. It's probably going to be your focus keyword. We'll talk about that in a minute. So you may want to, if you're looking for things that people might be reading blog posts about, you could put pricing. That would be one. That's one of the things we're talking about. You could write about systems. That's another thing that's discussed in this post. You could put business plan. Oops. Uh-oh. I think I've just lost our wonderful new post. No, I have not lost it. It is there in draft. It's a relief. So just click edit and we're back into our post. I must have hit the behind button. We've lost a little bit, lost profitability, but that was all. So we put in pricing, we were putting in business plan, and we had another one in there maybe about customers. So whatever directly relates to what you've put in there. In terms of the SEO, so that's all for the categories and the tags. In terms of the SEO, this Yoast plugin, this is an extra that we've added onto your website just to help identify how you can make sure that your blog post is optimized to the best of your ability. Let me just save the draft quickly. So right now your SEO is red. That's not good. This is going to be a green, amber, or red button. So you click check and it brings you down here and says, well, we can't even analyze it because you didn't even pick a keyword. So we click on the general tab. There's a couple tabs here for the WordPress SEO. And we're going to type in profit for the focus keyword. Again, as I mentioned, you may want to use profitability or improving profit or whatever. But for now, just for ease of explaining this, we'll put profit. And it immediately checks where your keyword is found. The more places, the key places that your keyword is, the better. So you're going to get a green light because it's in your article heading here. It's in the page title here. Or that's actually the URL there, but it's giving you all of those. So this is your URL. Now again, you may want to edit this a little bit. If you've got, and I think we may have done, if this said improve profit your business, you might want to take out the word your because that's not needed. That's not something that somebody's necessarily going to search for. It's in the content. It's 8 times in there, which is good. It's not too many. Sometimes the Yoast will point out that you've used the word profit 35 times and it looks kind of spammy, so you might want to fix it a little. And then you've got the meta description, which is automatic. It pulls it just from what you've written here, but if you want to adjust that a little bit, you can. Let's try this. Now it shows you how many characters, so we've got too many there. So we'll say to improve your business profits, there are 4 main ways. And you can use the little ... to make, because this is, and this shows you, this is what's showing up. When you type in Google and there's the title, and there's the link, and there's the little blurb. This is the blurb. That's what the meta description is. So we're just putting in something that's readable and causes somebody to want to click on it. The other thing you can do is set a featured image if you have one, and that way it should appear at the top of your blog. You don't have to have an image, especially when a blog, like book recommendation, or so you might want to have an image of the book, but you don't always have to have an image. Sometimes it's a good thing to have. One thing I will mention about images though is that you have got to make sure that you own the image, or that you are absolutely crystal clear as to where you got that image from, perhaps even have a link. This is something a lot of sites have gotten into trouble from and gotten sued by. There's so many copyright issues related to images. You cannot just go to Google Images and pick something and stick it in there. It's a very bad idea. Sometimes I recommend to people that they use the Microsoft free images. You still need to say where you got it, but they are free images. And I think I've just got a link here, but I think if you just Google Microsoft free Office images, that might not be it. Microsoft. Yeah, I think just Microsoft Images takes you there. And then you just search the images for, you could put price, and there's a bunch of images related to price. You can sort them by photo. So here's one, for example, not the best image ever, but there it is. And you can either download it or just click to save it. And then what you're doing when you put the image in here, first you're uploading it. I'm not going to do that just now. Let's find an easier way to do that. If you want to add the image within the blog post, the featured image is something that appears kind of at the top of the blog post. But if you want to have just an image within the blog post itself, just click wherever you want the image to appear, click Add Media, and then you just pick a new image wherever it is. So here's a random image I'm just going to choose. And there's all the other images we've uploaded. Now, there's a few things you need to do quickly. You need to make sure that the title is relevant to the image, and that the title and the alt text here are the same. So this may be ways to improve profits, or improving profitability, or something like that. It needs to be relevant to the image. So if I put improving profitability and the image is about adjusting sales, it's not going to look too good. So this is another thing that Google looks for. So you put it in the title. You also put it in the alt text because that helps for SEO. Caption means it appears actually on the image itself. It just obviously has a little kind of closed caption. And this is what you want to use if you have taken it from something like one of these free image sites. No matter where you've got the image, unless you own it or you have the copyright for it, you need to show where you got it from. It's a good idea to say image used courtesy, or just courtesy of Microsoft Images, and you could even put this link here, that kind of thing. Or you could just put courtesy of Microsoft Images there and put this in the description. The caption's going to show, the description's going to be available if somebody kind of hovers over the image. Pick your alignment, left, obviously the image appears over the left side, center in the middle, right, or none. We're going to pick left, and we'll insert it. There it is. It's appearing to the left, justified, and there's your little caption, courtesy of Microsoft Images. If you need to edit it, just click on the image and then click the edit, or you can click this to delete, but click the little edit button and this just brings up all this stuff that we just looked at. Just checking. You can go back to the original image and make changes to it if you need to be, but we don't need to do that. And job done. Then you can click preview and see what it looks like. and there it is. So you can fix that, move it to the right, do whatever you want to do there. And again, save draft. And now when you save draft, it updates the SEO. So you're now getting a green light, which is good. So you click check, and the check will just tell you some of the things. So this is saying, well, the keyword density is a bit low, but it's not the end of the world. It's kind of an amber thing. I wouldn't stress out about these too much. If you get a green light on your SEO, you're probably fine. If you want to address it even more, you can. It gives you hints like the page title contains a keyword, but it's not at the beginning. So if you've got it's talking about the, yeah, so your page title here, they're saying you may want to change it to move profit here, profit and the 4 ways to improve it. You could do that. That's one possibility, but sometimes, you know, the suggestion that they have there is a lovely one, but it just sounds stupid to change it. So don't feel that you have to sit here and work really hard at it. They'll give you a whole bunch of these other things there, so when you have green, you don't even need to really look at those. You're all fine. So we'll click Save Draft again, and you can do one final preview. Check and make sure that it looks the way you want it to be. So there's your title, there's how it'll go, and the end. So that's mostly what goes on in the post in terms of SEO and all of that. If this is way too much effort and you just want to write the content and give it to us, we will do all of this for you. Just give us the Word document or whatever the content has, and we'll figure out the rest of it. But you're welcome to put as many posts as you like. If you want feedback on them, just let us know. When you're ready to publish it, you can either click publish and that'll be it on your site, it'll be there on the blog, or you can go to this publish immediately, change the date to whatever date you want it to be, say the 29th of May or anytime, doesn't matter when, as long as it's in the future, and then click OK. Another thing to consider is if you want to share the link, you can grab this here, this is your URL, and you could prepare a post on Twitter or something like that. Just make sure that if you're scheduling it for ahead of time, you're not telling the world about it and giving the link before it's published. So if you're publishing it on the 29th of May, but you give this link to somebody tomorrow, it's not going to do you any good. So that's another thing to consider. So that is all. And then you can go back into all posts and see the posts that you have, the ones that you've done and the ones that others have done. And you can either do a quick edit, which helps you to address the title or the date or the category or tags, just quick things there, or you click edit and that goes back into the full thing that we looked at. So that should be you. If you have any questions, let us know.